Kia ora, I'm Erin J. Doyle, welcome to my channel. This video is going to be a haul video of all the books that have come into my possession over the last 6 months or so, with the exclusion of all of the New Zealand author books which were in my last haul. So this includes kind of work-related books that I picked up on like a free book table that came into existence. I think one is a gift and all the rest are me not having any self-control. And some of these are so newly acquired they are still in the box they were shipped to me in, so there's going to be some package opening action. So let us get on to it. From the free book table at work, obviously there's going to be like work related texts, so I'm going to keep just to the titles for this one because I don't really think you care. So first I grabbed Invisible Nature, Healing the Destructive Divide Between People and the Environment. And then Modern Statistics for the Life Sciences, because my life is a thrill. And the thrills continue, oh they continue, with the design and analysis of research studies. And then we have Insect Species Conservation, Measuring Biological Diversity, and finally the Sixth Extinction and Unnatural History. So some of these are a little bit more textbooky than others. I think the Invisible Nature and the Sixth Extinction are ones that you would actually just sit down and read cover to cover. The other ones are a little bit more yeah, referencey, but yeah, work related regardless really. Next up we have The Invisible Life of Addie LaRue. This is, I'm sure you've already heard about it because it's been on BookTube for quite a while, being very highly praised. This is a character who is immortal, but nobody remembers her after meeting her, and she has lived that way for quite some time, and now she's just bumped into somebody who remembers her. Interesting premise, no idea beyond that. Just a quick aside, because I think I forgot to mention this, I've been horribly sick, so if my voice sounds horrendous, or if it looks like maybe I'm getting a little bit of a fever sweat on, or if there's coughing I failed to edit out, that's why. I think I'm on day 6 or 7 of not being well, and day 3 of coughing up phlegm every 30 minutes. So, you know, just a thrill, really. But that'll be why my voice is very grating. Okay, moving on, because who cares about my medical woes. Next up I grabbed the first book in the Wheel of Time series. I'm gonna give it a go. I make absolutely no promises as to the time frame on this, because of A, the thickness, and B, I don't want to be harassed for conversation about it. I have several people in my life who are like, the enthusiasm for getting people to read this book is almost at like bullying levels, so I'll get to it when I get to it. And next we've got, I actually have no idea what that's about really. I just know it's like fantasy epic. Good enough, that's all I need to know. Speaking of fantasy, the next thing we've got is Empress of Flames. This follows on from The Girl King, which I read a few years ago and really enjoyed. The Girl King starts off with the Emperor not naming his eldest daughter as his successor as she expected him to, and she discovers he's basically planning to marry her off and for all the titles etc to go to her husband, and she is less than thrilled about that. And then oh god, I may have to reread the first book. What happens? I think the father dies, and then there's adventuring and attempts at usurping the throne from other people and stuff. Oh god, I may have to read the first book. But anyway, I really liked that. So once I remind myself as to what it's about, I'm sure I will enjoy getting onto this one. Next we have a rage purchase. So basically I've been in the mall and I've become either frustrated that what I was actually after or trying to do while I was there failed, or maybe there were just too many people. For whatever reason, I've become filled with rage and have run into the bookshop and bought like the very first book I saw that I recognised the title of and knew had good reviews, which was Girl, Woman, Other. I hear really great things. The blurb on the back really doesn't tell me very much though. Like it talks about following 12 very different characters on an intertwined journey of discovery. It is future, it is past, it is fiction, it is history. A novel about who we are now. Okay, cool. That actually tells me nothing, but I hear good things and I was angry and needed a book, so sold. And then for exactly the same reason, on a separate occasion, I picked up The Way of Shadows. Again, I had heard its title around a lot. I know that it's about an assassin. I think it's fantasy assassin. But again, this was like a, right, I will buy a book to make myself feel better. Yes, that one that I recognise the name of will do. So we'll see. This is, I've just realised, underneath the price sticker, part of a series. That is not the best impulse rage buy, because now I'm committed to reading the series, isn't it? Yeah, anyway. Next we have 3 of the 4 Heartstopper books. I did buy the first one as well, but that one I have already loaned out to somebody else, insisting that they read it, so I have someone to gush about these books with. I love them so much. Like, they're just so sweet. They'll give you cavities. They are so wholesome. They are so good. These are flawless. I love them. I would kill for these main characters to protect them. They're such good boys. I love them so much. Anyway, so it's a boy meets boy. And yeah, it's just adorable and fills me with so much happiness. So I can't remember why I picked up the first one. It might have just been because I realised that it was sort of on my radar of things I wanted to grab, and I saw that now that the Netflix show is out, the first book had like a photo of the actor's cover instead of an actual art cover, and I was like, no! So I grabbed the first book just so I got it with the original cover art, and then I read it and I was like, oh my god, it's beautiful. And I resolved, given how much joy and happiness I got from the books, that I would only buy the next books just one at a time when I needed a pick-me-up, like when something horrific happened. And the fact that I have the next 3 should tell you a little bit of what life's been like recently. But yeah, so these books have brought me a lot of joy in a very dark few months. I recommend them unreservedly to anyone. They are so wholesome and adorable and perfect, and they have like little leaves and things in between the frames, or like little flowers, and even just that little detail makes me happy. I love them so much. Anyway, going to move on because the gushing won't if I don't. Okay, this brings us to the packages. I warn you now, one of these may or may not make me cry. We'll go with this one for a start. It doesn't have an easy open spot. I realise that I've just been like flashing my address all over the place. We'll blur that out. Alright. Now, I've never bought from this supplier before, so it's interesting to see how they package. Oh, interesting. Okay, so they have put like a little tape ribbon to combine the two books. They don't move too much in the cardboard thing. Kind of neat. And a receipt, don't need that. All the money's food and books anyway. Okay, so first up we have book 19 of My Hero Academia. If you're not familiar with this manga or anime, it is excellent. It's basically a superhero story where the main character does not have a superpower in a world in which 80% of the population have superpowers, and all he wants to be is a superhero. And in the very beginning of the series, he happens into the most popular, most powerful, impressive superhero in the entire world, and long story short, manages to impress that superhero, who informs him that actually he has the ability to transfer his power to another person, and that he has decided that this young boy is worthy of his power, and says, you know, I will train you, I will pass my power on to you, you will become the next #1 hero. Yeah. Right, and next up from that package is Queer Ducks and Other Animals, a natural world of animal sexuality. The natural world of animal sexuality. So the reason I grabbed this is because when I was doing my undergraduate study as a biologist, we were told in a university lecture that homosexuality occurs when an individual fails to correctly identify the opposite sex. And I heard that and I was like, that's obviously horseshit. Like, no, that is not a thing. Like, that would explain like one-off random encounters or behaviours seen in like juvenile males. This doesn't explain like a lifelong ingrained tendency. So that explanation always sounded like complete horseshit to me. But you know, as an undergrad student, I didn't have the time to look into it. I just kind of filed it as a stupidity that I obviously wasn't going to perpetuate and tell other people, even though it was something that I had been taught. So a few weeks ago, I saw an interview with the author of this book in which he said that's what he had been taught when he was studying biology, and he had the same kind of, oh, that's obviously wrong kind of attitude about it. But he was more motivated than I was to address the issue, so he has actually researched the matter, and he proposes an alternative explanation for homosexuality within animals. And he wrote a book. The interview I saw was with, I believe, Trevor Noah. I will, if I can find it, leave a link so you can go check out that interview if you want to learn more. I thought it was really fascinating. They talked about lots of different examples of homosexuality as observed in different species, and the functional aspect of it, because homosexuality from a biological perspective is seen as a dead end. Like, it doesn't result in reproduction, so it shouldn't be maintained in the population. So there's kind of this, hang on, what the hell's the point question within biology. So he talks about you know, a hypothesis as to what's going on and as to why it is maintained within multiple species. So I thought that would be an interesting read in general, but it's also something that has irritated me for years, just quietly in the background, and I was like, oh, okay, I can get some satisfaction for that stupid thing that has been annoying me in the background for so many years. So I'm really looking forward to reading this. It is actually quite light. I didn't expect it to be such a light read. It looks as actually, just looking at the page, sorry, it's a physically light book, but it's also got drawings and things, which I wasn't expecting, which makes me think this is probably going to be a very approachable read for the non-expert reader. So I don't think at a glance that this is going to be a difficult read or that it's going to be inaccessible for the average reader. But I guess I'll let you know. Not that I'm like in the best position to comment on that because I am an expert reader of biology stuff. Okay, next package. I think it's going to need a knife. And we hopefully don't stab ourselves. Bubble wrap is weirdly hard to cut. There we go, we're in. We're in! Alrighty. Okay, next up we have The Archive of the Forgotten and The God of Lost Things. These are books 2 and 3 of Hell's Library. The first book is this one, The Library of the Unwritten, which I thoroughly enjoyed and gushed about quite a bit when I first read it. I remember, I'm sure I remember making a video where I talked about, like, you know, this is going to speak so much to people who are writing but who are not yet published, because the first book is this library of all the books that have never been written, and these 2 books continue the adventure. So I enjoyed the first one so much I didn't even need to read the blurbs on these. I was like, yes, just give me more of this world. So very excited to get on with these. Alright, so last package. I can already like feel myself getting a bit emotional. This is The Witch. This is The Witchfinder's Mark by Paul M. Clarke, who's a friend of mine, who I found out I think on the 2nd or 3rd of June had passed away. His book came out on the 7th. There's something kind of extra devastating about the timing, like, you know, he didn't make it to see his book on the shelves, you know, but I had to get it. That's the end of the haul, the end of the tea, the end of my voice's ability to power through. So we're going to call that the end of the video. Let me know down in the comments below if you've read any of these and you think that I should pop them to the very top of my TBR list and get onto them quickly. And if you're a writer, keep working on that project and get it submitted and fight for your dream and do all the things, because tomorrow doesn't always show up. On that horribly depressing note, have a good week and I'll see you next time. Bye.